Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis, with health officials here in the U.S. moving fast to prepare for what the CDC has called an inevitable.
Breaking news in Ontario. The province has confirmed 3 new cases of the coronavirus.
We continue to be in this phase of being highly vigilant, watching carefully, making sure that people who are sick, who have traveled at all, are tested and isolated. And we continue to ask people to do that. We know that this is changing around the world globally, so we want everybody to take the actions that we need to keep our communities and our families safe. And even if you haven't traveled, if you're sick, please stay away from others.
Folks referring to the action that they take to try and pin this on somebody because we've done such a good job. The hoax is on them. I'm not talking about what's happening here. I'm talking what they're doing. That's the hoax. That's just a continuation of the hoax, whether it's the impeachment hoax or the Russia hoax. This is what I'm talking about. Certainly not referring to this. How could anybody refer to this? This is very serious stuff. But the way they refer to it, because these people have done such an incredible job, and I don't like it when they are criticizing these people, and that's the hoax. That's what I'm talking about.
Local transmission is now suspected.
That means pretty much that everybody's at risk.
As the United States and Germany record the first coronavirus infections that cannot be traced.
We're at a decisive point.
Shrines have shuttered. Streets are eerily quiet. Schools are closed. The world is scrambling to fight a fast-growing outbreak that does not respect borders. But
with the right measures, it can be contained.
World health officials say in the last 2 days, the number of new cases outside China has actually outpaced those inside China, and that these steadily decreasing numbers reflect the ability to contain the virus. But there are also signs that efforts to curb the spread haven't been enough.
The mysterious German and American cases involve people who haven't been exposed to others with the infection or traveled to countries where it's circulating.
That suggests that the virus is out there in the community. We don't know who might be carrying it. We don't know who we could get it from.
As COVID-19 makes its way around the globe, action is being taken by governments everywhere, every day. From inside his car, a driver is checked for symptoms by medical workers in protective gear and goggles. They lean in through the window at this new drive-through clinic in South Korea, where more than 500 new cases were reported on Thursday alone. Elsewhere in Asia, Japan became the latest country to shut down schools as the virus threatens to derail the world's largest sporting event.
We're working extremely closely with the IOC and the Tokyo 2020 Organising Committee. To my understanding, no decision has or will be taken in the near term regarding the future of the Olympics.
But the WHO continues to caution the public not to freak out.
This is not a time for fear. This is a time for taking action now to prevent infections and save lives.
It's not just the U.S. on alert. Around the world, governments are trying different ways to contain the virus. In Lebanon, as we mentioned, school children are being sprayed with disinfectant on their way to class. In Japan, Prime Minister Abe has closed all elementary, middle, and high schools throughout the end of next month. But perhaps the biggest concern is in South Korea, after a dramatic 505 new cases were announced just in the last day. 13 people have been killed as residents of Daegu, the affected area, have been staying.
Travel agencies like Flight Center at King and Spadina have had to field questions from Canadians who've booked flights in the coming weeks and months, but have concerns about what impact COVID-19 will have on their vacations. One travel agent says there haven't been many cancellations at their site.
The main situations that we've been dealing with are clients who were supposed to be traveling to different parts of Asia who are no longer able to travel.
When asked if Canadians should be traveling during the global spread of COVID-19, both provincial and federal governments haven't given much direction, only advising Canadians to remain educated and aware. As the situation changes day by day, Flight Centre says now more than ever it's crucial for Canadians leaving the country to purchase the right type of travel insurance.
Such as cancel for any reason, which is a huge plus right now. If you're uncomfortable with your travel plans, you can cancel for any reason and be reimbursed for a certain percentage back on your trip.
The technology we're bringing to market would be able to boost energy density by about 20%, and then over the next couple of years we'll push it to about 40% improvement. The existing chemistry improves maybe 2% every couple of years, so we're really bringing a new battery chemistry to market for the first time in about 30 years. As I spent more time looking at batteries, it really turns out to be one of the hardest problems in the world.
Since its introduction in the 1990s, the rechargeable lithium battery has been the standard for everyday tech devices and electric vehicle power. As the world races toward an electric future, it needs something better to keep pace. Battery startups trying to build better batteries, ones with lower costs and better performance, believe big improvements are coming.
The lithium-ion chemistry has really reached its theoretical limits. Seal is a materials company that was founded with the mission of moving us to a new generation of battery chemistry, and that new generation of battery chemistry will enable further advances in energy density that'll allow electric vehicles to go further, be cheaper, as well as make for better consumer devices.
Sila is one of several startups that received major funding to continue working on their technology. Now, after about 10 years of research, they'll soon be ready for the commercial spotlight.
Things like wearable fitness trackers, smartwatches, wireless earbuds, cell phones, but it really is going to take us quite a lot of scaling up before we're in electric vehicles. And the hope is really to start in electric vehicles where we can deliver the highest performance, and then as we're able to produce the material at a larger and larger scale, bring down its cost and further bring down the cost of the battery, we would want to be in every passenger electric vehicle.
This is Neon. Not the screens behind me, the person. Only it's not a person, it's an avatar. It's the most hyped thing here at CES. It's from Samsung's Star Labs, and they're meant for human interaction. They're meant to look and behave like humans. You're meant to be able to talk to them, and here today, we're actually going to get a chance to see them in action. So we're going to see Neon demoed, and then hopefully we're going to get a chance to actually interact with these avatars. Here's what we know so far. They're based on a platform called Core R3, which is reality real-time responsiveness. They're meant to create movements and facial expressions in real time. They're meant to feel like you're talking with a human, but supposedly they're not meant to replace a human. They're not meant to be a digital assistant that just looks really human. So don't think Google Assistant, don't think Amazon's Alexa, or because of Samsung, don't think Bixby. Instead, they're meant to feel more like an actual human and like have a job like a human, like a yoga instructor or a concierge. That's the grand vision, supposedly? This thing is still shrouded in mystery. So hopefully we're going to get some answers to the questions here to see how close they can come to actually feel like you're talking to a human, or if it gets stuck in the uncanny valley, because man, that's close. But when it's actually interacting in real time, is it going to be able to continue that level of responsiveness? Now, Star Labs, which is the innovative branch of Samsung that is making Neon, is promising a beta of this for 2020. But again, we don't know if this is meant for consumers or businesses or whatnot, but it's not meant to replicate humans. It's not meant to replicate digital assistants. It's meant to just provide a sort of natural interaction and then maybe be integrated into businesses in a way that is natural. And we're going to find out how natural they can be.
The virus has now infected more than 17,000 people in Asia. Although various medical experts are estimating that the real number could be a lot more. And as of now, at least 362 people have died, all but one in China. Now, the other person was a 44-year-old Wuhan resident who had recently arrived in the Philippines, making him the first known death outside of China. Now, as a result of his death, the Philippines have temporarily banned non-Filipino travelers arriving from mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau. Now, Rick, take a look at this map, which shows the virus now being detected in at least 23 countries, most involving people who traveled from China. And 11 cases have been confirmed in the U.S., a man in Washington State, a couple in Chicago, and 6 people in California. So, of course, the question on everyone's mind right now is exactly what is being done to contain the outbreak. And drug makers are racing to develop a vaccine, but medical experts have warned that it could take at least 1 year for the vaccine to be cleared for public use. And that's actually a very optimistic timeline.
Which says if you are sick or if somebody in your family is sick, then this makes a good idea, right? Because you want to avoid spreading the germs. It's less effective if you're simply trying to avoid getting sick by going through an airport or a bus station or whatever else. This may not be that helpful. What is helpful is to constantly wash your hands, don't touch your face, and if you're in a clinical environment, take advantage of the hand sanitizer. You know, all of us here in the ER have been doing this constantly, both yesterday and today.
You mentioned the CDC, Tom. There's news this morning that they're changing their criteria for testing patients after that first case of unknown origin in the U.S. was confirmed. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and this is critical, right? Because up until now, they were separating these cases out by the travel history. But now, if this disease is spreading on its own in the United States, that no longer is enough. So they're now going to be pushing 93 test kits to labs across the country by this weekend so that there will be a quicker way to diagnose somebody with coronavirus. Meanwhile, 70 companies are competing with finding some sort of a diagnostic test for hospitals to use at the bedside, so that you don't have to necessarily send those out to a lab. But absolutely, the whole spectrum here is opening up.